Hello everyone, Jeff Green again with a market timing and market analysis update in preparation for trading week 5, which starts on Monday, January 31st, 2022. So if you can take a few seconds and just click that like button and subscribe if you want to, if these are any use to you, that I'd greatly appreciate it. So we're going to talk about a couple of things in this session, the possibility of a bounce this week, and then I'm going to go through my weekly issued watch list, and I'll show you the value of watching these watch lists. I'll show you some of the stocks that I selected and how they've done through the downturn. I think it'll be enlightening. So let's get right to it. So we're looking at a chart of the diamonds on the left, the SPY in the middle, and of course the Qs on the right, all daily charts. Had a nice bounce on Friday on increasing volume on all the averages, although not higher than the recent sales volume. I think that increase in volume was pretty positive, but one day does not make a trend, right? So we had a couple of bounces a week ago, and then again last Friday. So the SPX jumped, let's see, 2.43%, 2.48% showing here, and then the Q's 3.14 on increasing volume. Very positive development, but doesn't necessarily change the longer term trend at this point. Let me get a pen out here. We'll circle some of the things that I'm watching. Like I mentioned, this bounce up day, which is higher than this basing pattern at an extremely important level of support that goes back quite some time. The MACD is getting stronger. The on-balance volume is moving up. The ADX is still at a pretty high level, but this takes a while to change. Minus DMI is still above the plus DMI, but on the short term, that wouldn't necessarily prevent a bounce. What I like about these charts this week is the advanced decline line on all these are showing a little bit of life. They moved up when the market was moving up, so that's a very good sign. And we all know that the Qs, the technical stocks, have been extremely overbought, so this could be a pretty powerful move up. Again, the MACD is getting stronger here. The on-balance volume and the MACD here. So where do I think this might go? I think it might go up to the trend, this upper trend line here, but we're going to have some resistance here in this area. So let me take a quick look. I'll show you the broad market averages. Let me get my pointer back. Sorry about that. Like I'm fond of doing is looking at the VTI, which gives you a broader look at the market. On this chart, the weekly is on the left, and the daily, of course, is on the right. We see the same sort of things happening. We have a pretty good volume week right at this level of support, which goes back until, gosh, April of last year. So that's an important development. And this is the same support line here. So we got MACD slowing down on the weekly. We really don't see any improvement on the on-balance volume on the weekly. The advanced decline, the advanced decline line did move up slightly, but is not crossed over the 9-week moving average. And of course, we've got the same situation here on the weekly. So the weekly might be developing a longer-term uptrend, but again, we got to get above these lower sloping trend lines here on the weekly basis. So let's look at the daily basis, the daily chart. We had a couple of bounces here. This is a very strong bounce, but this one didn't get above the prior day's high, so it was a little bit suspect. This one got above last Thursday's high and the previous, let's say Thursday, Wednesday, and Tuesday's long-legged doji. So that's an important indication. Not as much volume as the thinner or less broad indexes, but we do have a MACD that's strengthening. We've got the on-balance volume that's showing a little bit of life. We've got the advanced decline line that's showing a little bit of life. And we spoke about the DMI and the ADX numbers. So let me clear my scribbles off here. And let's take a look at what I might be expecting for this week. So as long as the political situation stays stable and we don't break down and go in this direction, if we go in that direction, then all bets are off, of course. So I'm watching Monday for a continued bounce, potentially from this trend line. Right? I think that will provide enough momentum to continue moving up, possibly to meet this downtrend line. We don't know yet what's going to happen if we get here. You can see the 200-day is sort of right in that same area, and then the 50-day is still coming down. So this area is a critical area of resistance should any bounce develop this week. I think that if we get to here, we might see some resistance and we'll pull down, but just like we've spoken about several weeks, we really need to close above this trend line, and this predictable Ichimoku cloud needs to turn green. And I think we'll be more solidifying a renewal of the uptrend. But I think my money is on a bounce this week, depending on what happens Monday. So then you've got this amount of time before we hit into some resistance. So with that in mind, let's take a look at this week's stock watch list. And you can download this from my site. I'll show you where you can get this downloaded. What's interesting here is Apple has jumped back up into onto the list, which is a good thing for all us Apple followers. And there are many good stocks here, but there's only about 20 stocks that I'm following. Let's see, 25, I guess, something like that. Let's see, exactly 26. You got to watch here because earnings on many of these are right around the corner. Let's sort these by industry so we can sort of see what industries are either strengthening or continuing their strength. I'm going to sort by B here, industry. Okay. So we can see the bank. There's only one bank. These are all money related sort of stocks that respond to increased interest rates. And I don't think the market is really going to, or let's see, earnings are really going to feel the effects of increased interest rates for some time. So we might get a rally here, but keep in mind that the market always looks 5 to 6 months ahead. So when these interest rates really start going up in March, the market might still begin to struggle or resume a downtrend. We have the inflation rates that we talked about last week, which is absolutely horrendous. And then increasing inflation just piles two strong headwinds against a bullish market. Real estate's still doing good. Food products, those are defensive stocks. Healthcare providers, that's defensive stocks also. Oil, gas, and consumables, they've had a run of a couple of weeks. And if we get this rotation back into, the high earnings stalwarts or continuous high earning stocks, the oil, gas, and consumables like Fang and these guys over here may just stall or go back down. There's no way to tell until it happens. And so that's the watch list. So I had picked out my favorite stocks for this week's worth of trading. And let's take a look at those, because what I did was I did on my system, I can do a little quick test. So these are my favorite stocks for this week. And you can see Apple's on there, ANTM, that's a healthcare. All these are my picks for this week. So what I did was I went back and did a quick test report from 11/23, and if you remember the charts, 11/23 was really when the market was starting to break down through last Friday. And if I had just bought these stocks at the top of the market on 11/23 or thereabouts right around Thanksgiving until Friday, these are the returns that these stocks would have got. And this is why I publish these stock watch lists every week, because not only does the list change, these tend to be the stocks highest in resistance to downturns. So here's the price change of each row, and you can see the results there. Overall, we had 6 winners and 2 losers and 0 even, which is hard to get to anyway. But some of these growth rates were pretty good. So Zim had a 18, almost 19% increase. 8% for Berkshire Hathaway, and then you can see Apple and ANTM right here. You add all those up, and this stock list would have gained 5.27% as the market measured by the SPY dropped negative 5.6%. So these are resilient stocks to downturns, as you can see by the results here. Now, if you buy these stocks when the market is going up, then the chances are pretty good that these stocks would do even better, especially on a bounce. So that's why I've picked them up for this week. You can get these stocks off my watch list, which is posted on my website. Let me just bring up my website here and I'll show you where you can get these. You can get them at this link right here, top stocks list. You need to be logged in. You can register for free, but if you click here, by the time you watch this video, I'll have this week's top stocks list posted. You can always go back and get the prior weeks. So I hope that helps, and I hope you have a great week trading, and we'll talk to you again next week. Thank you.